Welcome to the Future in 15 show. I'm host Caleb Parker. If you're tuning in for the first time, the Future in 15 show is 15-minute interviews with entrepreneurs and business leaders who are innovating within their company and creating the future of their industry. Welcome to the Future in 15 show. I'm Caleb Parker, your show host, and we are here today in Soho, London, just above an old iconic pub called the Spice of Life, where Bob Dylan used to hang out back in the 60s. I'm sure Kim has a few stories there, but we're here with our guest, Kim Myhre with FreemanXP. Kim, FreemanXP is obviously a global company. Just for the viewers who may not know who Freeman is, can you give us just a quick elevator pitch?
Yeah, FreemanXP is the brand experience agency, part of the larger Freeman organization. Freeman, we're having our 90th year birthday, Freeman, this year. It's been around for a long time.
Impressive.
It's about a $2.5 billion company, specializing in event services primarily, audiovisual communications. And the brand experience part of the business is really focused on innovating new ways of bringing brands to life through live experience.
Oh, perfect. I love the word innovation. Obviously, that's why we exist. Can't wait to hear more about that. As I was coming up the steps today, I saw McDonald's, Google, BP, all NFL, my favorite, all these major big brand names. So obviously, you support big companies. But your clients are event organizers, is that right?
Freeman, yes. Freeman supports event organizers, the large exhibition organizers. The brand experience part of the agency is much more focused on corporate custom designed experiences, whether they're online experiences, conferences, exhibition stands, road shows, product launches, any kind of experience where we're going to bring an audience together, engage them around the brand.
And when you work with clients, are you working with them directly or are you working through agencies?
No, I'm working with them directly.
Okay.
We have worked through agencies on occasion, for some brands, but generally speaking, we work directly with the company.
Can you share some examples of some of the events you've produced?
Well, we produce lots of events. Just recently, I guess this year, we've done a lot of work with Vodafone. We produced the Vodafone activation at the Capital Radio Summertime Ball at Wembley, which was a really interesting experience. Vodafone looking to extend their brand into younger consumers. We've also done work in the pharmaceutical sector. We created some interesting experiences for AstraZeneca around respiratory, and we developed the Living Lung exhibition and with a completely immersive theater. Just last year, we worked with Drupa, which is the largest print exhibition in the world, created a multidisciplined intersectional thinking day for the print industry. And actually it lasted actually a week, bringing speakers and participants in from lots of different segments within the printer industry to talk to each other about where their market segments overlapped, where new opportunities might exist, and how the print industry was changing. So there's lots of different kinds of activities we're involved in.
I've been really excited about this interview because we share a passion for challenging the status quo. And you are challenging event organizers to think differently about events. In fact, you don't even like to use the word events. Why is that?
Well, I think just the word event's very myopic in its definition. An event when you say, I do events, people have a very sort of static view of what that is. It's a room with a podium and chairs or an exhibition floor. Those are, in my mind, limitations to what's possible in terms of live experience. That's not to say they're not live experiences, but I don't think our industry needs to be limited to those. I think the less myopically we think about brand experience, both live and online, different kinds of formats, the breaking down of time and space. It doesn't have to be in one place, it doesn't have to happen at one time. There are lots of dimensions to the whole world of brand experience which go far beyond what is possible with a traditional event format.
Interesting. So you use the term intersectional design, I believe it is?
Yes. So Freeman, as a company, is committed to this concept of design thinking, which is basically an approach that designers take to solving problems. You know, everything you see around you, someone designed. There's nothing here that's happened kind of by accident. Everything has actually been done. So you either design something or it's an accident.
So how does that relate to events then?
Well, it relates to everything that we do. So when you're crafting experiences for a particular audience, you need to understand that audience. You need to understand what motivates them, what their inhibitors are. You need to bring that knowledge to bear in terms of how you design the appropriate experience for that audience to achieve your objectives. It's a very straightforward process. It doesn't happen by accident. You just don't bring a group of people together and achieve your goals. So that's a design principle. So there's another component to that design process, which we add on top, which we call intersectional. And the concept of intersectional is a really interesting one. And one of the best ways of sort of introducing you to the concept of intersectional design thinking is to tell a little story. So it's called the drunkard's paradox. And basically the story is this: there's an intoxicated man on his hands and knees on the sidewalk under a lamppost.
Okay.
He's patting the ground. Another man walks by and says, "Sir, what are you doing?" And he said, "I've lost my keys. I can't find my keys." So the man gets down and starts to help him look for his keys. And he said, "Are you sure you dropped them here under this lamppost?" He goes, "No, I didn't drop them here. I dropped them across the street." And he said, "Well, then why are you looking here?" I said, "The light is much better here." And I think that paradox is a really interesting one for professionals in the events and even in the experience design industry. We have a tendency to look to things we know. We rely on our experience. We think we know how to do it. We've done it many times. So we're also often resistant to change because with change brings risk. And in the experience marketing business, risk is not something that's tolerable. So we have a tendency to keep repeating processes that we think work. The problem is that our audiences are changing. They're becoming more technology enabled. They're getting younger. No question ever goes unanswered. They can get information at their fingertips. Their attention spans are shorter. The truth is that today, brands are competing for people's time and attention. So to get someone to come to something and participate in it and stay attentive to it is a real challenge for many, many brands. And so I think those brands are now realizing that they are going to have to look at new ways of doing things. So we think really sometimes some of the best ideas for innovating in the area of brand experience are outside of what we know. So we kind of know what we know. We think we know what we don't know, but mostly we don't know what we don't know. And the only way we learn what is out in the darkness is by thinking intersectionally, bringing ideas from different disciplines together to create new ways of thinking, to be encouraged to explore new ideas.
So you're obviously challenging planners on how to think differently about events, how to bring in the brand experience into that. Are people just embracing this, or are you getting a lot of pushback? I mean, we are in the UK, and being Americans as we are, one of the first things I noticed when I came over here is that people are adverse to taking those risks. So are people embracing that?
I think people are because they don't have any choice. I mean, I think the reality of it is that some of the traditional event models that we use to define brand experience aren't working as well as they used to. I'm pretty sure that generally audiences are down. The population which understood traditional trade shows and other kinds of mediums are aging. We're going through a transition, and particularly the technology that's available to us now. I mean, what's the iPhone 10 years old? I mean, there's change going on, and I think that impacts how people can now receive information in a much more personalized format. They're not heard anymore. And so the reality of it is that we need to find new ways to reach and engage and allow them to participate in our brands without trying to shout at them in a traditional advertising mode.
So we're talking about bringing intersectional design from other sectors. Does that require a different way of thinking in people outside of the events industry? Are you bringing in, are you recruiting people outside of the industry as well?
Yeah, I think that's really part of the principle of what we're doing. We, of course, have people who have done events.
Yeah.
That's important. But we are bringing in strategists from the advertising world. We're bringing in architects in the design space. We're bringing in people from PR and from marketing and from other disciplines, social media, technology. So we're bringing a lot of different disciplines together to create our own sort of intersectional environment where, it's great sitting in a meeting and having people saying, why are we doing it that way? Here's another way to think about that.
It's a great question. Why?
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's really, really important. So The demographic of the team here is really pretty diverse in terms of not just in terms of skills, but also in terms of culture, and I think that's also a really important part of the whole intersectional piece of things.
So just I want to get a good paint a picture here. The old way of doing things versus what Freeman brings to the table. Can you tell the difference between the two?
I've been in the events industry and in the marketing business for a long time, and I can tell you that it's been a very logistically oriented business. And in fact, part of the, I think, challenge of many event marketing people is that they don't feel like they have a seat at the big table in marketing in most corporations, and mainly because they don't have the right data. They don't have the right metrics and measurement to be able to demonstrate the value of their proposition. So I think the other thing is that they tended to be logistically oriented in their thinking. So someone would say, I think we should do an event. And their first question would be, where? How many people? How many days?
And what is the first question? What should it
Why?
be? Why? Okay.
Right. Why are we doing it?
Yep.
Why are we doing it? What do we hope to achieve? And if we can define what we hope to achieve, then what audience do we need to engage? And then in order to achieve those very specific objectives with that audience, what do we need the audience to feel, think, know, and do in order to actually achieve our goals?
I talked to a lot of event organizers, and that's one of the biggest questions, the biggest topics is engagement. How do we engage our delegates better?
Well, I think that's really important too. We know that, for example, that technology interactions are becoming much more important around events, for example. But technology can be an enhancer, but it can also be a disruption. I mean, I think the reality of it is we need to understand the role that technology plays in events, not just pile technology onto events. And that again comes down to this: yes, is technology being used in events more? Yes, it is.
It's a great topic for another Future in 15
But
minutes.
how would we use it in a more effective way that's not disruptive, that's enhancing, that's enjoyable? And for example, that trend we call tech etiquette. Can you use technology to actually interfere with people? Like, how many people like downloading an app that they can only use for 2 days? Instead of using social media that they use every day.
Event apps are a big business, though.
They are a big business. Yeah, for now.
So Freeman doesn't do anything with event apps?
We do. Actually, we do. We have a number of event apps, of course, as every event company does.
Okay.
Yeah, we do. And we're experimenting now in virtual reality as well, as many other companies are. In fact, we've created virtual exhibition stands now where you can actually go in and walk around your stand, and see what it's going to look like and make changes.
Big question, money question. How does Freeman make money? What are your fees based on?
Yeah, well, the FreemanXP organization is like most agencies. We charge for people. We essentially sell people. And we charge for time, and that's essentially how it works. So expertise and time. We have commercialized some products, like in the technology sector. We do have some technology products. But I think generally speaking, it's the traditional agency approach of selling project time.
What do you see? You've got your finger on the pulse here. So as far as the latest technology within the brand experience, creating live events, what do you think the next big thing is going to be?
Well, again, I think, we're all talking about it, but I think virtual reality is going to be a really important experience technology, not just in events, where I think in some ways now, if you go to some, like, for example, Mobile World Congress is happening next week, I think you'll see lots of virtual reality demonstrations around the stand, usually having nothing to do with their product. I think in some ways it's become in the expo business.
Is that just a gimmick then?
Yeah, it's like I call it stand candy. It's kind of like stands used to have a big bowl of candy to attract you over there. Now they have a VR headset. But
that'd be a fad, though.
But I think that the concept of virtual reality in terms of a learning platform, a training platform, a medical platform, the ways to use virtual reality are going to increase, and maybe not on the trade show floor or in the conference setting, but certainly it will be a new format for experience that I think is going to be really important, including in retail and other places. So I think virtual reality is going to be pretty important. Obviously, AI is really important as well, and
artificial intelligence.
Yeah, of course, and our ability now to create thinking machines that help us not just not collect data but analyze data quickly, so that we can be more responsive in terms of our design and our experiences that we're creating. There are lots of things that are changing. I don't know if you've seen the video of the Amazon store.
Oh yes, brilliant.
Awesome.
Love it.
Yeah.
I can't wait till they open here.
Oh, no, exactly. It's great, isn't it?
Walk
Yeah.
in, walk out. Don't
Yeah.
have to see anybody.
As someone was saying on my
Fantastic.
team, though, you just can't take your kids in there. That would be a problem. But anyway,
Just don't give them the phone.
taking everything off the shelves.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, I think the retail experience, these are all experiences. These are all brand experiences. There doesn't have to be a conference. And those kinds of things, are really going to be impacted by these technologies, I think, pretty significantly.
Fantastic. Appreciate it. Thank you very much, Kim, for coming on the show.
My pleasure.
Really good to be here. And all the best to you.
Thank you very much.
Cheers.